Hi there, I'm Jim Hollman and you're listening to Goalkeeping It Real, the podcast that brings you real life experiences and advice from some of the top goalkeepers, goalkeeper coaches, sports psychologists and goalkeeping brands in world football. And we aspire to provide the knowledge and insight of their careers to inspire you. As well as our podcast, we offer in-depth and insightful online video courses for goalkeepers, goalkeeper coaches and parents. This unique learning experience is designed to give you the understanding, inspiration and confidence to be the best you can. For full details on all our video courses, visit www.progkp.com. Welcome to another edition of Goalkeeping It Real. This week we speak to Wolves goalkeeper John Ruddy. Now, John is a goalkeeper whose career I've followed quite closely since he was a goalkeeper at Cambridge United. I was working at Norwich City, a club that's close by, and he was seen as the up-and-coming talent. And at the time, we didn't sign him at Norwich, but he's gone on to make a fantastic career for himself, playing in the Premier League with Everton, Wolves and Norwich City. It was great to catch up with him, and he was very open about some of the quite public situations he's had to deal with and how he's dealt with them, and it was very interesting to listen to him. Big welcome to John. John, thank you very much for talking to us. How are things?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, no, good, thank you. Thank you very much for talking to us. We'll fire straight away with the first question. You've worked under some great goalkeeper coaches. How important have their relationships been, and could you share some advice that you've been given that stuck with you over the years?
Yeah, I think obviously working so closely with and having a good player-coach relationship is vital for anybody, even more so within the goalkeeping schools, if you like, because it is so unique and you are separate from the group a lot of the time as well when you're doing your work. So, you know, as you said, I've been fortunate to work with some top keeper coaches, and each one of them has brought something new into my game or into my psyche. So, you know, I tried to pick up as much as I could from every one of them. You know, I think the formative years of when I first started playing in goal, as many people would say, would probably be the most important, because it's where you learn the basics, not just about the position, but about what you can do as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had a Turkish goalkeeper coach at Cambridge when I first joined there, called Ali, and you know, he had some very different ideas, but also ideas that were built around what I could do and what would help me improve. So,
yeah,
you know, every goalkeeper coach I've worked with has instilled a confidence within a session to really nail down the things that you're good at, but then also try and help the things that you might need work on. And that with no goalkeeper is the perfect package. So it's about finding what works for yourself and trying to develop that as best you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the arts, I think, particularly with goalkeepers like yourself, in saying the situation you're in now, in that you're considered experienced, but there's also every goalkeeper, I think, has got areas in which they can improve, and finding the balance between, because sometimes identifying those kind of weaknesses can affect the confidence. So the balance of that kind of relationship with the coach, I think, is vital.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's like you said there, I mean, I'm 33, played 400 and something games, but you know, even over the last couple of years when I haven't been playing as much and I've been working in the gym or training and trying different things, and you know, I found out about myself that in actual fact, there's some fundamental basic aspects to my game that need improvement. You know, slightly, like one side I'll step too far forward, which means I'm slightly off balance when I'm diving, instead of diving into the ball as full length or as dynamic as I possibly can. So, you know, I've been trying to work on that, and I think it's the key thing is that, as you say, you're never probably going to be an all-round complete goalkeeper, because you'll always have something else that rises throughout your career. So, you know, it's about adjusting to that and adapting the best way you can. So,
I think there's also on top of that the game's evolving, or the sports science around it is evolving, and new understandings about, like you talk about technical issues there. So you think you might have reached your peak and that can't get better, when actually there may be information out there that says it can.
Yeah, and gone are the days where you see goalkeepers benching 120, 150 kilos just to get stronger, or squatting 200 kilos just to get powerful legs, because that's not what you need as a goalkeeper anymore.
No.
You need to be dynamic across the ground.
Yes.
So you need to then to have probably a lot more fast twitch fibers.
Yeah.
For speed work, and then you need that explosive power when it comes to pushing off, and also the balance aspect of it as well, which are obviously all mainly core and glute based. So like I said, for myself, the last 2 years, it's been a real eye opener for me as to is how much, if you work on different areas of your body, how big a difference that can make, as opposed to just trying to nail down a technique.
I think that's huge. I think that it's not that long ago. I think I can remember when I first saw you play. I think it was Cambridge against Norwich, probably 15, 16 years ago.
Pre-season game.
I think it was, yeah. And even then, when I was working with Robert Green, and it was, the mentality was be as big and as strong as you can be. And I think that stems from the nature of the game and how goalkeepers were treated. We had to, be big and strong to deal with, the physical aspects, but that isn't there anymore. We don't get clattered anymore. We don't have to be strong. We've got to be quick and agile.
Yeah, no, and you've got to be able to trust the positioning as well. And again, that comes from trusting what your coach is doing for you, the sessions that is being put on, making sure that it's relevant to what's coming on a game day. So it used to be the old one where you're playing Stoke with Tony Pulis at Stoke. You're going to have to get bombarded with balls coming into the box. So your sessions building up to that game would be more around claiming high balls, dealing with pressure in and around you, and that would be such a unique game that you'd only get that 2, 3, maybe 4 times a season, depending on who you're playing.
Yeah.
And as you say, the game's evolved so much now that people don't want big brutes. They want people who are good with the ball at the feet, are agile, who can read the game well. So it's effectively like they've gone from one extreme to the other, and then it's about how you as an individual can adapt your own game to keep up with that.
Yeah. I suppose it's come around from the back pass rule, isn't it? Remember the game changing, and it's evolved over time. I mean, I can remember we've spoken about this in an interview previously, where the back pass rule came in. There was an understanding from coaches and the goalkeepers, as in the goalkeeping coaches, that the keepers needed to be better with their feet. But I can't remember seeing too many, almost immediately as that rule came in, saying, right, we need to work on the back four as the ball goes back to the keeper. We need to work on the type of pass back to the goalkeeper. Because we were, as a get out, really. Centre half thing, I can't do anything with it. Just chuck it back to the keeper and hope for the best.
But then they'd pass it back before and then just turn their backs and walk on the pitch, because they knew the keeper had the ball under control with his hands. So now then, like you said, it's an aspect of the rest of the team having an understanding of that as well, and having to make angles as they would. A midfielder would make an angle for a centre half. So the centre halves have to make angles for the goalkeepers nowadays, and vice versa.
And it's certainly in almost every level now. I think that's embedded. They do work on those sorts of things and try and influence the team in front of the goalkeeper, which is to our benefit. So long may it continue. Yeah. You had numerous loan spells. How much contact did you have with your parent club goalkeeper coach on those loans? Did they mentor you? Did they allow the coach at the club you were playing for to sort of take the lead, or what was that like?
A lot of the time, in fairness, certainly, all of my loans really came when I was at Everton. But I'd be training at Everton a couple of days a week, and then going down to the loan club for primarily the Thursday, Friday, building into a Saturday game. Yeah. So I still had that continuity, if you like. To be fair, some of the clubs I went to didn't even have a goalkeeper coach. So you're literally going down there for 2 days and just joining in, and at some points just trying to coach yourself with the other goalkeepers. So, it was an eye-opener in that sense. But I think, obviously, if you're going the way I did it, I got my workload in on a Monday, Tuesday at Everton. with Chris Woods, who was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then wherever I was on loan, we was mainly doing match preparation on the Thursday, Friday anyway. So there's not as much workload with the goalkeeper coach. So it was a good balance. And then I think the loan I had when I went to Motherwell was really beneficial, and that was just led by the goalkeeper coaches that were up there. So I was there for a full year, so they just took control of that and allowed me to develop with them for the season.
In those loan spells at sort of lower league clubs, so the margin between playing at the highest level and just falling short is so minimal, I think. And from your experience of playing at the lower league, what did you have to change about your game, about yourself, to be able to sort of step up to playing at the top level?
I just think the speed of thought and decision making had to be that step above. I think you get away with a lot more in the lower leagues. You might, if you're playing for a team that's under the cosh quite a bit, as I did when I was at Cambridge, as I did when I was at the likes of Crewe and Wrexham. You're still under the cosh there, and you're still having plenty to do. But the fact is that if a striker's going through and he's got 3 chances a game, he might only hit the target once. Yeah. Whereas the higher up you go, you're going to get worked every single time, more or less. So it was that. It was processing the game. So game reading had to be on point to understand the situation that was in front of you. And then your decision making in terms of technique. Or do you come out and close the angle? Do you wait and give and not give anything cut? Do you go with a foot? Do you try and scoop the ball? Do you chop away? All of these different decisions that go through your head, and it was that really that was an eye opener. Just that speed of thought, and the speed of the game in general just picked up dramatically. So you had to be a step ahead, really, try and anticipate and read the game. And that's every player as well, because obviously, strikers had to understand that the defenders were more intelligent. Midfield players were more intelligent. Strikers were quicker, stronger. So the defenders had to be on their toes as well, and understand where the space was and where they could get exploited. So I really think that goalkeeper coaching has evolved massively in quite a short space of time. I can remember training as a young goalkeeper, and it was all technical. And have you seen a sort of quite a big change in the type of training you do? Do you spend more time with the outfield players so that you can develop that understanding and develop anticipation? I think that comes with experience as well. In honesty, I think the best way to learn that is through games, whether that be training games, whether that be phases of play, or stuff you're doing with the team. Because that's very hard to recreate in a goalkeeper environment. Yes. I'm yet to see a session where you've got 3-4 goalkeepers who are doing combination plays in and around the box and getting a shot off, because it's not something that you're ever accustomed to as a goalkeeper to do that. So it's very difficult to recreate. But I do agree with you in the sense that goalkeeper coaching has come on a long way. I think the session inputs and the variety of sessions are massive now. And you can have one topic, say for example, angle shot stopping, and you could do. I'm sure you've got 8, 9, 10 sessions that you can think of at the top of your head that you could put in place for that, just to keep it enjoyable, keep it fresh, and not allow it to become mundane when you are doing it. And I think that's the key, is keeping the enjoyment, but also keeping the goalkeepers engaged within the session. So that when you're doing it, they feel like they're not only getting work physically, but mentally, they're having to stay switched on and focused for every single ball. Yes. Yeah, that's certainly, we've touched on this in other interviews as well, about the especially in the lower leagues where there's not many goalkeepers around. So, for example, I'm at Newport at the moment. I've got 2 full-time pros. Luckily, I'll have 3 scholars next year. But
They're on a different site, so essentially the majority of the time it's me plus two, and having that variety and variation whilst sticking to your principles and keeping it realistic is one of the biggest challenges I've found.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And to be fair, during the lockdown, I was doing my son as a goalkeeper, and I was trying to do some sessions with him. And there's me, him, luckily we've got a little rebound net, so you're incorporating that to act as another server, just to try and add different dynamics to the session. You know, you might throw a short dive off the rebounder, he has to get up, work across his goal into another save, and you know, it's just little stuff like that. Whereas otherwise it would be, right, stand there, take a volley from me, wait until I get to this ball, take another shot from me, and it's like, you know, it just becomes a little bit too false in that aspect. Yeah,
it is. It's the challenges, because I'm a big one. I want to keep it realistic, and I want to keep it beneficial, because I think it'd be very easy to chuck down 100 cones and ladders and all the rest of it, and actually, you know, that these are things we're not going to be doing in a game. The benefit is minimal, but that is a challenge. It's
and that's the thing with a lot of the service as well. You know, you find a lot of coaches nowadays, the volley and the half volleys are sort of being pushed out a little bit, because how many times have you really caught a volley straight into your face in the middle of the game?
That's a common one at the minute, John, and I think that's another one of those. It's a fad and it's a trend, and it's those comments are designed to create conversation or to draw attention to whatever project is going on for individuals. But the volley and the half volley will never leave goalkeeper coaching, because it's a very simple way of warming up.
Yeah,
it's a warm up.
Exactly.
That's all
and
it is.
it gets the hands and eyes in, and it gives the goalkeeper a chance. And then when you go into the actual session, then you're incorporating different serves, but the technique of the goalkeeper will never change.
Exactly. It can be overused, certainly, but it will never leave. So, Anyway, that's another. The hairs on the back of my neck went up then. So I've already asked you about this question, so I'm glad you've decided or agreed to answer it. Goalkeepers face many hurdles, and I think it was a little bit of an eye-opener for some of us when you missed out on the Euros in 2012 and the World Cup in 2014. How did you deal with that, and what was going through your head at that time?
Well, 2012 was easier, because it was an injury that was out of my control.
Okay.
And in actual fact, it was a second training session with the team, and I just literally, there was just a dip and volley had come in. I'd gone to scoop it. It just caught the end of my finger.
Yeah.
And it just stubbed the end. I thought it was just a stubbed finger.
Yeah.
Got in the dressing room. It was black and blue. And they'd said, I had to have an X-ray. It was a minor fracture. And in actual fact, if I was still at Norwich at the time, if it was during the season, I would have been able to play on and train on. But because of the insurance purposes and the risk factor for England and the FA, they couldn't take that risk, which is why they withdrew me from the squad. So, you know, and to be fair, I'd never expected to be in that squad.
Yeah.
You know, it was a massive surprise and obviously a massive achievement to be named in the squad in the first place. So from that aspect, it was a lot easier to deal with, plus the fact that I was getting married 2 weeks later. So I'd already had a wedding, a honeymoon and holidays already pre-planned.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like there was no real disappointment other than the fact that, you know, it's an opportunity missed. But through no fault of my own.
Yeah.
And I think I was always confident enough that I'd done well enough to get into the team, get into the squad.
Yeah.
That if I continued on that path, then I'd stay in the squad. And to be fair, that's what happened up until 2014. And that was, that was a really tough one to take, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because I felt personally I'd done enough in that season. I know we got relegated, but you know, I think we got relegated by maybe 1 point, and I'd kept 12 clean sheets in that season, which, you know, for a relegated team is unheard of. So, you from a personal point of view, that was a really tough one to take. And I think the culmination of things contributed to that, with the sense of the summer before. There was a lot of interest from Chelsea. They'd made bids. I rejected it because I was in a good place at Norwich. I was playing regularly in the Premier League. I was in the England squads. And I was happy where I was.
Yeah.
And then obviously you go through the season, we get relegated and miss out on the World Cup. You're watching Chelsea playing in semi-finals of the Champions League in a game which I probably would have played in if I'd signed. So, and I think the bigger aspect and the bigger picture for that is I didn't realise at the time how much it did affect me, probably until maybe a year later.
Yeah.
I think once we got relegated and I didn't make the squad, my mindset switched to, right, I need to be back in the Premier League. I need to be playing Premier League football.
Yeah.
And then the season after that, we got promoted via the playoffs, so we came straight back up. And then I think just the weight of everything and the amount of effort that I put into that season to try and get straight back up and help the team as much as I could just was a massive had a massive draining effect on me.
Yeah.
Mentally more than physically. And I think it all just came tumbling down. And I don't think I got taken out of the team once we got back to the Premier League for 11 games, I think. And I think when you're out of the team and you're not focusing on the games and that, you have time to reassess what's actually gone on. And I think everything came back to that moment of being left out of the squad. Performances slipped.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't back in the England team when I was in the Premier League. I'm never going to get back in. I'm never going to do this. So I think that had a huge effect. Probably, like I said, probably for 12 to 18 months after that.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough one to take because I felt out of all the English keepers, obviously Joe had been dropped by Man City during that season. Like I said, I kept 12 clean sheets. I played relatively well.
Who got in front of you, John?
So there was Fraser Forster, who had been at Celtic. So, with all due respect to Celtic and the Scottish League, you know what the Scottish League's like, but he's effectively got in on the back of Champions League performances. So, that was a difficult one. And then Ben Foster as well, who had come out of an international retirement because Roy Hodgson was in charge. And, I felt that was a little bit, Roy favoured Ben a little bit in that aspect. And that's what cost me, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a really tough one to take.
It's I know we've sent some questions to you, but I'm gonna change tack if it's okay with you, and it's purely because we started touching on. We did several interviews early on with goalkeepers, and we asked them how they deal with setbacks and how they deal with mistakes. And off the back of those, the last two interviews we've done have been with psychologists, because what we found, we were asking the goalkeepers, how do you deal with mistakes? And they were kind of sort of generic answers. And of course, I would imagine some of them didn't want to touch on like specific techniques they had. So we got the psychologists in, we did 2 interviews, and they talked to us about different methods of dealing with long-term setbacks. So things like we've just spoke about with you, or maybe errors that have stayed with them for several weeks or months. And also the short-term, made a mistake in a game, got to recover immediately to get on with the game. And both of them have talked about reflection, reflecting on the incident, deal with it, get rid of it out of your mind. Do you have any or could you offer any advice to the guys listening to this into how you would deal with, we'll say, a mistake in a game, to be specific?
A mistake in a game is it's common. You're going to make errors, and I think the biggest thing for me is that next action has to be a positive one, whether it's a kick, a catch, a save, a throw, a piece of communication. It has to be positive.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing that goalkeepers can do, and more so younger, inexperienced goalkeepers, you'll find this with, is that they then go chasing the game to try and make up for it. They'll come for a cross that they've got no right to get to on 16 yards out, just to try and put it to the back of their mind, when in actual fact they're probably doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
They'll try and clip a ball to a fullback or a midfielder in the middle of the park that really not on, and then never try again because they want to show people that in actual fact they're still confident.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the culture that you see nowadays, certainly in younger players, is that there's an air of confidence about all of them, where they try and show people that nothing affects them. And look, everyone gets affected by a mistake. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how many games you played. Mistakes will be part and parcel of the game. The game's based on human error. So, for me, it's just about, in a game, reassessing, refocusing, and just saying, right, the next action that comes in is going to be positive, but I'm certainly not going to go and chase a game to try and make up for the error I've just made, because then you'll only compound the error by probably making another one, which will then have another effect when you try to make up for that one. And it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah. It's you're kind of touching on a little bit of what one of the psychologists said about, essentially, I know it's a cliche, but control what you can control. And so his approach was
Gavin Drake, control the controllables.
Yeah, he touched on it a little bit, and Dan Abrahams was the previous one. And essentially, they were saying that there's so many things in a game that you cannot control. The ball may take an unexpected bounce, a deflection, or whatever it may be. You can't control that, but what you can control is your mind. So focus on the mind itself, get that under control, and then you'll regain your focus. So it's interesting. Have you worked with Gavin?
Yeah, I worked with him a bit when I was at Norwich.
Yeah. He was. I thought he was excellent. Yeah, good. So what for you now, John? You get 33. You got many years, I'd imagine, playing. You're going to continue?
Yeah. No, my plan is to go for as long as my body lets me.
Fantastic.
I've got a year left at Wolves. So, come next year, we'll see what's out there, see what the options are, and hopefully get back to somewhere where I can start playing again. I've still got goals and ambitions and aspirations for my career. So
absolutely.
I'm certainly not wanting to retire anytime soon.
Good.
To start my coaching badges during the next. So before I do retire, I'd like to have the qualifications in place. So that's something that I can go into as and when I'd like to. But you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Which I suppose was when Wolves. I remember listening to you speak on the BBC. I think it was when Wolves signed Patricio.
Yeah. And
I think you were saying, because I do think there's still a little bit of kind of goalkeepers unique, and they need to be treated differently. And if you're going to sign, but as you said, if the gaffer's going to sign another striker, you don't put all the other strikers in and tell him that you're signing a striker. And I think that was your approach, wasn't it?
And at the end of the day, I backed myself to compete against Ruddy. Ruddy's a top class goalkeeper. His CV speaks for himself, but I still have confidence in myself that if touch wood he doesn't, but if there is a suspension or an injury to him, that I'll be able to step up and show that I can do it at this level. And I think that's the only disappointing thing from my point of view, is that you never got an opportunity to show people that you can still, I'm still a good goalkeeper. And hopefully that'll come. Whether it's at Wolves or somewhere else, then we'll see within the next 12 months, I guess. So. It's something to look forward to.
I think one of the things they say about you is your professionalism is incredible, and so you've looked after yourself, and I think you're probably going to have many more years playing at the top level. So I don't think you need to.
That's the aim. So fingers crossed.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, John. Appreciate that.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for your openness and honesty, and all the best for the very near future.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Lovely.